Hello, welcome to Without Else. We have nothing series of my HPHR Fellowship. My name is Gabriel Oke, and today I'll be having one of the interviews I'll be doing for this fellowship with my guest on the show today. His name is Chibuike Alagboso. So, Mr. Alagboso, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Thank you very much for having me, Gabriel. My name is Chibuike Alagboso. I work as a health journalist for Nigeria Health Watch, a health communication and advocacy organization based in Nigeria.
All right, so Chibuike, can you please describe what solution journalism is for us?
All right, thank you very much. Solution journalism is a form of journalism or storytelling where you put a lot of effort. It's actually a rigorous process where you report about how people are responding to social problems, because a lot of times we see that the media is awash with all the negativities happening around the world. By all means, journalists report what's happening, but as a solutions-focused journalist, we also put a lot more effort, be more deliberate about reporting to how people are responding to all these problems.
All right, thank you very much for that. Please tell us what makes a story to be a solution story. What constitutes a solution piece?
So for you to consider a story a solutions-focused story, it needs to have four important pillars. Yeah? The story needs to have four important pillars for you to consider it a solutions story or a solutions journalism story. First of all, it has to be clear on what the response is. So when you say solutions journalism, reporting how people are responding to problems. We're not saying ignore the problems, because for you to say this is the response, you have to be clear on what the problem is. Yeah. So the first pillar there is response. You've talked about the problem. So what is being done about that problem? And in writing that, you focus a lot more on the how. So the how is important. How is that response working? How exactly those people, that organization, that individual addressing that problem? Then the next one is the evidence. So for you to say this is a solution or is working, it doesn't need to be perfect. There needs to be evidence that, look, this is the response, this is evidence that it is working or having impact. So this is what is the evidence of the impact of that solution. And the next thing there is the insights. Okay, so at the end of the day, solution journalism aims to help others realize or learn what others are doing, to solve a particular problem, so they can learn and, hopefully fix their own problems. So the fourth pillar there is insight. What can they take away from that story? What are the nuances, the different things that made it work or not work? Those are the lessons that needs to be taken away from that solution or from that response. It's very important. And finally, what is are there limitations? Of course, we understand that even though we are saying this is a solution or a response, it's not perfect yet, and there's no one size fits all. So what are the limitations? What are the challenges? And that way it also sets it apart. So someone wouldn't say it's just PR, because PR pieces most times won't talk about the challenges. So yeah, those are the four things that make up a solution story.
Some of our listeners now can actually be hearing this for the first time. So can you kind of give us an example of a solution story, and also now tell us, the impact of solution story in healthcare space in Nigeria? What do you think the contributions of solution journalism is to, those things that solution journalism helping us to take care of in healthcare? How solution stories are helping the healthcare advocacy in Nigeria?
Okay, thank you very much. So the one that quickly comes to mind is a recent one I wrote about someone helping to address postpartum depression in Lagos State. Because a lot of times the problem, reporting can focus a lot more on the problem, which is the issues that women have, postpartum depression, after giving birth. But then, that's why I said solution journalism it goes beyond the problem to talk about what is working. So that story focused on an organization called Postpartum Support Network and what they are doing to address postpartum depression in women. And you see, with lessons from there, others can say, okay, this is what is happening to address this problem. What can we learn from it? Can we replicate it? That is happening in just one place. Lagos is one state out of 37, the 36 states and the FCT. So with that, someone can look at it and say, okay, how can I replicate this across hospitals in other parts of the country, and that way you see that you already have an impact in the mental health space in Nigeria. We've also written a couple of stories around how organizations are helping women give birth safely. And you know, it's an issue with Nigeria maternal mortality and all of that. So with those stories talking about how women are giving birth safely and who is supporting them to give birth safely, someone in another location can learn from that. Like I said, with the evidence, with the insight, you know, even learning about the challenges, the limitations, because that way you are looking out for it. Say, okay, these guys face these limitations, they face these challenges, I need to look out for them if I'm going to adopt and replicate. So that way you see that it's having like those stories beyond just reporting them, it's putting the spotlight on them, it's having that ripple effect of, you know, people are learning, they are adapting, others are learning, they are adapting, or those solutions are spreading, or even those inspirations to look out for ways to solve their different problems.
So what would be your advice to someone that is just starting out, maybe as a journalist, as a content creator, you know, maybe for any media organization, or maybe online organization, or maybe print media, you know, someone that is just starting out, what would be your advice to someone like that so they can start?
I think it's always a work in progress. Even we that write, we still learn, you know, get new tips every day. So I think it's about learning and practicing. So find opportunities to practice what you are learning. If it's really something you want to do, look for opportunities to look for stories, because I believe stories are abound. There are stories everywhere. People are doing their bit to, you know, address these different issues. So look out for those stories. Try practicing those 4 pillars. There are resources online. There are, you know, regular trainings. So try telling those stories, because the only way you can learn to drive is by driving. So for you to learn to tell solution stories, you have to tell the story. So from there, you now assess and also get other people to help you, maybe review and say, okay, you got this pillar right, you didn't get this pillar right. So, you know, in summary, just practice and look for platforms to put out your content.
Yeah. Thank you very much for your time, and that will be all on this show. Thank you.